Hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. I hope you guys are doing wonderfully well. This is going to explain what happened in this game. Newcastle beating Manchester United 2-0 at St James's Park, leapfrogging, as you do, into third place. Newcastle United are in third place with not many games left. The Champions League could be on for them. And let's remember, this is a team that started with Sean Longstaff, that had Jacob Murphy in it. Unbelievable stuff. A team that, for the first time, without Callum Wilson in it, comfortably won a game. Now, he came on and scored a goal, and that's great. But again, I just think it's always worth kind of remembering where you are, Newcastle fans, because I would say a year ago, imagining winning a game of football without Callum Wilson on the pitch, unheard of, right? Absolutely unheard of. There's four things I think are really interesting in this game that we will have a look at. Probably a few extra little bits as well. Don't forget that the Fallout will be out tomorrow, talking about an unbelievable weekend of football. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoy this one by the end of it, do me a favour and subscribe. And of course, hit that like button as well. Let's talk about Newcastle first, and then I will get to this key point, because this is a massive problem for Man United in the next few games. And it's one that could severely hurt them. I think that everyone will remain calm about Man United being in the Champions League places. I expect them to continue to do that. This is a disappointing result. And away from home, Man United have struggled. I think there was some mistakes in hindsight from Man United. But again, I think you've got to give Newcastle some real credit for every single area of the pitch, defence, midfield and attack. I thought they were absolutely superb. Let's have a look at the stats overall, because I think that's revealing in itself. Here we go. So scroll down a little bit and you can see, I think, a big one in all of this. I'm looking at the wrong game here, because that is the game of the EFL Cup. And there was a big difference between that game and this game, which I'll explain in just a second. 22 shots, for Newcastle United. Absolutely amazing stuff. 6 on target. And I think the thing that I was concerned about, and I bet every Newcastle United fan was thinking it as well, was you can't have all those chances and all those shots, especially in the first half. Newcastle should have been 3-0 up. They were very confident in their play. And I think when they're at their best, they are really smart. They are kind of within a zone. They are on the front foot. They are proactive, certainly defensively, but also have great structure going forward as well. And they know how to get the ball up the pitch. But again, the energy in this Newcastle side, I think, was really impressive. But the thing, everyone's getting ready for it, weren't they? We're going to go, that's the thing about Newcastle. They just can't get the goals to win the games. 4 big chances. Let's have a look at the first half of this game, because I think that was interesting as well. 11 shots to 2 shots in that first half, using the ball well. High XG in that game as well, in that first half, as well. 2 big chances and missed both those big chances. I think there was 3 big chances, to be honest. You've got the Sean Longstaff header. I think he can do better there. And Willock with a chance. I think someone else had another big chance for them as well. But they came out really strong. And it was something that I said on ESPN actually on Thursday. And it feels a bit wishy-washy. But what's going to make Newcastle get into those spaces? And again, I'm not saying this to dig out this team, but this is a team that, as I say, Sean Longstaff is in this team. Joe Willock is in this team. I mean, let's say Joe Willock has obviously come from Arsenal, but there's players here, Fabian Schär, there's players here that are not sexy players. And that's okay. And they just quietly, in a very noisy atmosphere, went about their business very well. The focus in particular was down that right-hand side for Newcastle. It actually opened up a little bit more in the second half, but the first half of the game, it was really focused down that right-hand side, with St Maximin being left on his own on the left-hand side to have a little go at Delo. Had a few moments, but I think the problem I always find with St Maximin is that he just generally seems to keep going inside. But I thought the midfield 3 was the first thing that I really wanted to talk about, because I think for Newcastle, I think we know what we're going to get from their defence. You know, their goal difference is so much better than the Man United's, and the reason for that is because they don't concede goals. And do you know what it is for me? It's the distances between the back 4. It's so good when they haven't got the ball. Their spacing in terms of dropping back and when to drop back to not allow the opposition to get in behind. I thought they were much more switched on with that. And then you have a midfield that has so much energy that they're able to get about the pitch and, again, be positive with what they were doing. But I thought the gaps in between was really, really impressive for Newcastle. But there was a massive problem when it came to Man United, which we are going to get to. But let's give Newcastle their bloody flowers. The midfield three of Willock, Sean Longstaff, and Bruno Guimaraes. Bruno Guimaraes, last time I looked, I mean, I can check it again now, but basically 91% pass completion. So tidy on the ball, can always be given the ball. But the big thing for me here is that those front three players, so Jacob Murphy doing whatever he needed to help the team, sometimes coming into those half spaces to almost be a bit of a decoy to allow someone like Trippier that space to get a bit higher up to put those crosses in. I thought Trippier was fantastic once again. He's such an important player for this team. And also, you kind of need that soldier in Jacob Murphy. But I thought he was effective. Got to the byline, as you can see from his heat map here, and putting some really nice crosses for the team. I thought Isak as well was happy to run that channel at times, but also stay out the way to get himself in the box. He knew that was going to happen, but there was always that space because often Luke Shaw was actually sort of coming into central areas to pick up the ball at times. He had a lot to do, Luke Shaw, from that left-back position. What I also found a bit weird, I don't know if people have seen this before, Luke Shaw with short sleeves. Is there a ripple effect there? The fact they wore short sleeves. Something wasn't right. Just didn't feel right at all. Back to Newcastle, though, that midfield three. Sean Longstaff, look at him. Absolutely everywhere. You know, in terms of the length of the pitch, that's his side. He deals with that. But importantly, he had chances. He got in the box. And for all three of them to be doing that, to be so proactive, I've just thought it was fantastic. Bruno Guimaraes, who you would kind of feel is a bit of a deep line playmaker at times, but again, almost has a weirdly free role. Gets on the ball absolutely everywhere, always an option. And Joe Willock, again, he's got that left-hand side of the pitch, does the work defensively, gets at the opposition and gets himself in the box. And the first goal, is all about that. It's all about having not just Isak in there, but having Longstaff in the box, Willock in the box, Maximin in the box, Jacob Murphy in the box. All those guys in there make it too difficult. And standing on that 6-yard line, that is something that Joe Willock has. Sometimes the finishing's not there, but his sniff ability is solid. It's very, very solid. And he got his just desserts, I think, because I thought he was really, really impressive. But the whole midfield three, as I said, was so, so good. I think they smelt blood, though. I did feel like they smelt blood. For Man United, of course, and this is the thing that I wanted to kind of get onto, was that if we go to that EFL Cup game, here it is. So Man United obviously won this game. And if we go to the average positions, you know what I'm going to talk about here, right? Casemiro. Having Casemiro in this team and not having them is the difference between having a double pivot and having a single pivot. It really, really is. Now, even in the average positions here, and remember, think about game state when it comes to Man United. So Fred, although getting all over the pitch, you know, they were 2 goals up, and so they were defensively strong for the second half as Newcastle pushed. But that ability that Casemiro has to deal with stuff defensively and allow players to be higher up the pitch was a massive, massive problem for Man United because they couldn't get in behind Newcastle because they had one player missing. So this is the game. And this is the game again in the EFL Cup final. And look how high Fernandes is, both with his heat map in terms of getting on the ball, but also just his average position is much higher. That means Rashford, and he's much more connected to Rashford as well. That means that Rashford is much, much higher as well. And Rashford, as you can see from his heat map, getting on the ball in the penalty area, affecting the game, as we, of course, know that he did. This game, you got Sabitzer and you had McTominay. Look how deep they are, first and foremost. But having those two there, it means that you essentially have to play a proper double pivot. And the person that gets affected by that is Bruno Fernandes. Look at how deep Bruno Fernandes is. And that means he is disconnected from Rashford. Rashford is deeper. And Rashford himself can't get anywhere near the box. Because when he does finally get on the ball, it's not from in behind. It's with a back four from Newcastle that is set in a good position, and they defended incredibly well. But that was the big, big problem for Man United, not having Casemiro on the pitch. We spoke about Newcastle and those missed chances. I thought that was going to be the thing that was going to do them in the end, not taking those chances. The other thing I thought was interesting, I think it was Dan Burn against the world. Really, really was. They had, at one point, it was Anthony on that side, and I think they really did sort of go after him. Anthony initially trying to deal with the fact that Dan Burn obviously doesn't have that low centre of gravity because he's such a big dude. Anthony had a little go at him, then Rashford swapped over and he had a little go at him, and Dan Burn stood up to the task. Brilliant, brilliant work from him. And Newcastle completely deserved it. And this is what I was saying with the fixture videos. I think Newcastle needed to start well to win some of these games to change the lens. Win a game like this, and it's going to be the home form that could get Newcastle over the line here. Because I think, say you're averaging 2 points a game, I think that will get them into the Champions League or give them a real good shout, because Liverpool are faltering. We don't know where Tottenham are at right now. And obviously a great victory against Man United. Man United need Eriksen back. But most importantly, they need Casemiro back in this side. I don't think it's something to lose your mind over if you're a Man United fan, because this is a really solid Newcastle team. And again, the bottom line here, Eddie Howe has done one hell of a job with this lot. And it's a mindset thing. They play on the front foot. They know what they're going to do. Sean Longstaff, again, I thought was amazing. Alexander Isak working his socks off. Jacob Murphy being, useful. And a back line that is just very, 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 very solid. And if you think about the second goal, one thing that Man United massively missing as well at times, size. It's a small team, and especially when you take Varane off, I'm not turning my nose up at Martinez because I think he's wonderful, and I thought he played pretty well. But when you don't have him, you don't have those players on the pitch, you are lacking size. And that second goal, that is a simple cross into the 6-yard box. And even the goalkeeper, a more commanding goalkeeper, probably comes and gets that. If Nick Pope is down the other end and in a Man United shirt, I think he comes and claims that. And that is something that I think Pep Guardiola struggled when he was sort of in his first season with Man City. He realised, and I'd be all right, we'll have these smaller guys. And I don't think it was something that was sort of a pressing thing for Man United and Erik Ten Hag, but I do think it will be something that they need to address in the summer. They are a little short, quite literally. When it comes to the size of the team. And generally, you need about 4 big guys in your team. And without Varane in that side, because Martinez is smaller, you lack that dominance. And again, that might come down to a simple thing of, it might be about the goalkeeper here. Can you find a goalkeeper who's got that size to come and claim, but also good enough with their feet? Something for the future. Speaking of which, I did a video talking about the next 3 transfer windows and how Man United could shape up in 2025. If you want to go and check out that video, it is available right now. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well, and let me know your man of the match in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.